How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope that you guys are all having a great day. If you guys would please give this video a thumbs up. If you guys do enjoy it, subscribe, of course. If you guys have not already, also doing the biggest favor of all, make sure you guys hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on the channel. Make sure you guys also head over to Twitch. Follow me there at Douglas447. I do stream there at least once a week. And this is going to be my review of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3. The epic finale conclusion to the Star Wars The Bad Batch franchise. Enjoy. Really quick, I also want to discuss the fact that I do have a community area because we are at over 500 subs, and everybody that has helped us get to this point, thank you guys for the channel, love and support here on the channel. If you guys are brand new, thank you. Consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. Not only do I do movie reviews, but I also talk about TV shows and video games and board games from time to time here on the channel. You guys can also check out the community area. I'll put polls out as to what content I should be covering next here on the channel as well. Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3. I decided to wait to watch all of it once it had finished airing. The reason being is I've just been swamped with other things, and I also felt like, Season 2 kind of felt that same way. Like, if you watch, unfortunately, this show and you just watch one episode a week, or you watch the first 3 episodes like they release all at once, I don't feel like it's a natural progression of events, unfortunately. If you watch one episode, you gotta wait a week. I think Star Wars The Bad Batch, unfortunately, breaks that mold that Clone Wars and Rebels set, where with Clone Wars and Rebels, you can watch 1 or 2 episodes at once and you get a complete story for the week kind of thing. Bad Batch, especially with Season 3, it just feels like a very long, dragged out 15 episode, one story thing that just takes 15 episodes to get through. It just takes forever. It's an easier time to enjoy it if you binge watch. Okay? That's how I feel Season 3 was designed, even more than Season 2. Season 1 kind of had that Clone Wars and Rebels thing where you could watch one episode and you kind of got a good story of the week. Bad Batch Season 3, in order to be able to fully enjoy it, you have to watch the whole thing from start to finish. I also would recommend that you rewatch the last 2 episodes minimum of Season 2. Before the first episode of Season 3 kicks off, they do a general review of what happened in Season 1 and 2. But there are characters from like the beginning of Season 1 that show up here in Season 3. And they're like, yeah, remember me? No, no, not really. I don't remember you really. It's been 3 years, and I didn't know I needed to do homework to enjoy the third and final season. Like, I get it's the third and final season, and they're trying to, like, do references and callbacks and tie everything up from the beginning of the show, but I shouldn't have to go back and rewatch everything. So, I will say, that is the problem with the Bad Batch, unlike Clone Wars. It's like, to understand what happens 100% with the final season, you do have had to have prior knowledge of Season 1 and 2. So, just do keep that in mind. Overall, I laugh, I cry, and I had a good time watching this season. I'm going to dive into spoilers. It's been out for weeks now at the time of recording this video. So if you haven't seen Bad Batch Season 3, this is your spoiler warning. I'm going to talk spoilers. It is on Disney Plus, and I am planning on getting a copy of the season on DVD, so I can have everything, all Clone Wars, all Bad Batch, and all Rebels in my Star Wars TV show collection. No, I am not getting Resistance. I watched both seasons of that on Disney Plus, and dear God, I thought my brain was going to melt. That Star Wars Resistance, yeah, it's just more sequel travesty crap, and I really don't want to talk about it any further. So, like I said, Bad Batch Season 3 has 15 episodes in total. Each is about 25 minutes long. There's a lot of fantastic action sequences, and there's a lot less focus on side missions or boring characters. And there's a greater emphasis, there's a greater focus into the plots and to the characters that leads into the original trilogy and into the sequel trilogy as well. As much as I don't like the sequel trilogy, the show does tie into it with things like Project Necromancer. So I'm happy about that. Like I said, I know for a fact, I remember a lot of season 2 being a lot of boring side missions and going into new mysterious planets and having these one-off episodes. And that was fine, but it's like the whole season felt like that. And I just like, okay, where are we going? What are we building up to? Season 2 of Bad Batch kind of felt like MCU Phase 4 and 5 at the moment. It's like there's no direction until we get to the finale. This season had a clear goal. It had a clear vision of what they needed to accomplish in 15 episodes. The planet Tantus, I wish, was explored a lot more. We get to see a good chunk of the planet of Tantus on the Imperial base. We get to explore a little bit of the outside, but not much. They hyped this planet up to be some sort of big thing, and I'm just like, okay, it's just another Imperial base in my head. It's just another bad guy base that they need to go in, blow up, and get out of. I just didn't understand why they made such a big fuss of Tantus. So it was kind of weird. Another and this is a major spoiler. So, this season gives us honestly more questions than answers. Like, it's in terms of being the final season, this season gives us more questions than answers. Like, so Project Necromancer gets basically put on hold. That with Death Star, Project Stardust, can be completed faster. Just for example. And I'm like, well, then how in the world is it that the First Order knows about it and is able to just boot it up back into service so they can make Snoke? There's no proper explanation for certain things. Also, a big thing is that it is confirmed that not only is Omega a female clone, but she has enough of a midichlorian count, which I hate saying that out loud. She has enough ability to use the Force, and she can tap into the Force. So, even in the finale, and I'll get into that later in the video, even with the finale, she just is this young female pilot, and she's going to go join the rebellion to be a starfighter pilot against the Empire. Why is it that Hunter Wrecker never tells Omega that, hey, you have enough of an ability to tap into the Force, go find Luke Skywalker or Yoda or Obi-Wan or somebody and get trained to become, a Jedi and help bring back balance to the Force and help defeat, Vader and the Emperor in some capacity. She is Force sensitive. She has the ability to be trained to be a Jedi. Or a Sith, if they wanted to go down that dark route. I don't think Omega would ever do that. But Omega is clearly stated by Ventress in this season, yeah, another spoiler, that she has the potential, she has a great potential, if trained properly, to become a Jedi. And that just kind of just gets pushed to the sideline to focus on Tantus. And I'm just like, why in the world, and this has got to be some sort of writing decision, why is it that they introduce such a gigantic plot twist to the Star Wars universe that not only is Omega Force sensitive, but she is one of 2 female clones created specifically by the Kaminoans to be Force sensitive. This is something that has never been explored in Star Wars before, and it just gets pushed to the sidelines so they can introduce the Zillo Beast, they can introduce Cad Bane, they can introduce Asajj Ventress, they can introduce Tantus and Dr. Hemlock, and all these cool little Easter eggs. And I'm just like, why didn't you focus on something that is grand and spectacular and has never been explored before? I feel like some sort of Disney executive, whether it's Kathleen Kennedy or whoever, is like, okay, yeah, you can have your cool little moment in the sunshine, but we need to get back to what people actually, I think want, which is things blowing up and people dying. and people talking. Like, it would have been cool to see Omega being trained to become a Jedi. You know, obviously they'd have to figure out some sort of canonical, logical explanation as to why she's not in the original trilogy. But they could have done it if they had the proper writing staff, making sure that Omega being force sensitive and being trained as a Jedi wouldn't break lore and canon. I just don't understand why they introduced that in this season, and then it just never gets touched on again. That to me is one of the biggest problems with this season. It's also one of the biggest theories that a lot of people had since the beginning of the show. It's like, okay, she's a female clone. Well, maybe she's connected to Rey somehow. It's just like there's no proper explanation. As far as this, I'm going to say this, and I might say it again, but I'm going to try to say it only one more time. As far as this being a final season, it just kills me that this season gives us more questions than answers. I do like that Omega kind of has taken her training from the Bad Batch and everything else that has happened to her from the past 2 seasons, and it allows her to be able to earn the Imperial trust on Tantus easily. A lot of the characters, especially Omega, we get to see her grow up, and you know, she's not so naive, she's not so inexperienced. You know, she can fly a ship, she can shoot a blaster, she can pick a lock, she can use her skills that she's been trained on to try to figure out how to get out of a bad situation. Omega's sister, Dr. Carr, being totally loyal basically to the Empire was kind of sad and irritating a little bit until we get to the finale and we realize, okay, you know what, she does actually have a heart, and it's not a heart of, you know, gold. It's a heart that, you know, can beat. She kind of, Dr. Carr kind of reminded me of like the Grinch in a sense, in that way. But I thought her character was an okay character. It was an okay addition. She's not like a big standout character. I'd like to see her in future Star Wars projects moving forward if she, you know, survives. The Empire also feels less of a joke. That is one thing I hated about things such as in Rebels and in the first 2 seasons here of Bad Batch. The Empire just felt like a joke. Like this, they're this gigantic new military power in the galaxy, and they're just like complete utter morons. We also see that in Star Wars Rebels. They're just idiots. In this season, however, the Empire feels like a threat. They're evil. They're smarter. They're menacing. They're powerful. You know, you think that they're acting like idiots, and then all of a sudden the show does a 360, and he's like, I know exactly who you are and what you're doing and why you're here, and you're under arrest. I'm just like, they played stupid, but they were actually like getting their, you know, troops in line to capture them. It's like, wow, the Empire actually has brains. Who could have guessed? I'm also happy that we get to see Omega not be reunited with the Bad Batch after the events of season 2 until the 4th episode. It takes 4 episodes until Omega reunites with them. And it being months apart kind of makes the reunion a lot more emotional. We get to see that impact. And I'm just glad it wasn't done in 1 episode. I'm going to try to wrap things up. I know this video is going on for a lot longer than normal, so I'm going to try to wrap things up. I was worried that Tech would have been brought back to life. Like, he would have been alive in some capacity. Maybe he was like one of those brainwashed assassins, and that season 3 would have basically just undone his death. I'm happy that they kept his death permanent. That is one thing I was worried about, because this is a Disney show, and Disney doesn't like their heroes dying. The fact that his death is permanent, and he just wasn't captured and brainwashed and brought back to life, and that, you know, he miraculously survived that fall at the end of season 2, I'm happy about, because it made that finale feel more impactful. It feels like a gut-wrenching moment, and it added to season 3's like, hey, you know what? Hate to break it to you, nobody's safe. Unfortunately, None of the other Bad Batch characters die. Hunter is still alive. Riker is still alive. Crosshair survives. Echo survives. Omega survives. Even that silly little Prowler Hound thingy is still alive. I'm just like, I was expecting more people to die, more than just, Admiral Rampart, Dr. Hemlock, and whoever that Kaminoan is. Nalase. Those are the only three main characters that die. I was expecting some more. I honestly didn't think anyone but Omega and maybe Crosshair would have survived. The Emperor actually is in episode 3, and also I think that helped make things tie into the sequel trilogy a lot better, with more understanding of kind of what Project Necromancer was about. So that was kind of cool. We do get other characters in this show. Like I said earlier, we get Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane, and that's unique to see them. But they're basically just glorified cameos, and they really don't add much to the overall plot or to the Bad Batch characters either. And what they do in the season could have been basically done by anybody, which makes the cameos just, done for fan service. Like, it could have been any bounty hunter that was collecting these Force-sensitive children. It didn't have to be Cad Bane. Asajj Ventress being the one that shows up and tells basically the Bad Batch minus Omega that, hey, she has enough Force-sensitive potential that she could be trained as a Jedi or a Sith. They could have found anyone to do it. It was cool to see Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress, just for example. But I'm just like, whatever. They don't stick around enough in this season, in this show, for me to actually care. And it's just going to be one of those things like, okay, you want to see this episode with Asajj Ventress and the Bad Batch? Because they're only in for one episode. They're never mentioned again. They don't even show up in the finale battle to help out whatsoever. I was expecting Ventress to be some sort of helpful, guide or something, that like the ending would have been some sort of like mini Avengers kind of thing, and we just don't get that. It was weird. Even Rex doesn't show up in the end. Where is everybody? Where did everybody go? It's the finale. The cavalry is here. I mean, the final episode is called "The Cavalry is Here," and we don't get no cavalry. We don't get no Avengers Endgame finale battle. It's just like, oh no, we're trapped. Oh no, we're captured. Oh no, we're trying to escape. I'm just like, where the hell is your allies at this crucial moment? Where is Rex? Where is Cody? Where's the Clone Rebellion army? Where's Ventress, of all people? Like, you have all of these allies that you have built up over the past 3 seasons. None of them, and I do mean none of them, show up to help you get Omega out of Tantus and blow that place sky high. Why did no one help? Plot hole. I'm sorry, but to me, that's a bad writing decision right there. Honestly, I was hoping that the finale would have had something to do with Rex and his clone group and the Bad Batch going up against the Empire. That's kind of like what I felt like season 1 and 2 of Bad Batch was setting up, was this clone uprising army versing the Empire, and we just never got that. I mean, we get a little bit of it, but I was expecting it to be a lot more grand scale. Like I said, Rex and his army never shows up in the finale battle. It was weird. Another weird decision is that they decided to make this plot decision where in the first 3 episodes, Omega finally gets out of Tantus. She escapes. And then towards the end of the season, she gets captured again. She gives herself up to protect everybody that's on that secret island planet thingy. So she gives herself up. She gets recaptured again within the same season and gets sent back to Tantus. And I'm just like, why the hell did you allow her to escape so we could just have basically 7 episodes of filler? Like, why? Why is it get captured at the end of season 2, escapes 3 episodes later in season 3, 7 episodes later or so, she gets captured again, sent back to Tantus, and then in the end, the Bad Batch has to go to Tantus and break her out and blow it up. I'm just like, it's a constant back and forth. It's like a cuckoo clock. Can you figure out where you want Omega to be. Do you want her to be with the Bad Batch, or do you want her to be captured and imprisoned with the Empire on Tantus? Pick one, pick one, pick one, pick one. Royally frustrating in terms of a plot. The Juggernaut take episode, I think, was probably my favorite. It was probably my favorite. It just showed how powerful the tank is, and I like seeing that. That was really cool. And in terms of the finale, I'm gonna wrap everything up now. In terms of the finale, called the episode "The Cavalry Has Arrived," there is no cavalry. I know I've already said this, but there's no cavalry within this episode. I was expecting an Avengers level finale. I mean, this is the last animated season that we're getting from Lucasfilm. We're not getting anything else Star Wars related. We might get another season of Tales of the Jedi. But as far as Star Wars television goes, they're focusing on live action, such as, we getting us that Acolyte show, which I will watch the first 2 episode premiere, and if I don't like it, I'm not going to continue watching it, because honestly, I just don't much care. I'm not even excited, but I'm going to cover it and give you guys my first thoughts and impressions on that. The Zillo Beast from the Clone Wars, was it from the Clone Wars show, or was it that Zillo Beast from season 2? I don't remember. They have some sort of Zillo Beast, and that was cool to see again, to see a Zillo Beast. But for whatever reason, they have it in this gigantic, Godzilla pen, hiding in the basement of the Imperial base on Tantus. Why? Why is it there? There is literally, I rewatched this episode twice just to make sure. There is no explanation as to why the hell they have Project Necromancer going on upstairs in the vault. And then they have the Zillo Beast, which is the only explanation as to why they have the Zillo Beast on Tantus is they're trying to use it for some sort of part into Project Necromancer. But last I checked, the only reason the Zillo Beast actually has any importance within the Star Wars universe is when you first see it in the Clone Wars, and it's doing this, Godzilla, King Kong, skyscraper thing on Coruscant. If you guys don't remember that episode, rewatch it. It's really hilarious. But the Zillo Beast basically has armor, and you can't kill it. The only thing you can do is basically put it to sleep. You can knock it out, but you can't kill it because of its blaster-proof armor. And the Emperor wanted to use that armor to make it where his troops basically were invulnerable from blaster fire and from rebellion. So I don't know why the Zillo Beast is on Tantus, but it's never explained. It's there for the sake of fan service, I guess, but there's no explanation as to why. The finale I thought was good enough. It doesn't conclude all the plots. Like I said, the season and the finale does not conclude all the plots. Most are, but some are just basically left open, and I feel like they did that on purpose so they can have some sort of sequel show that'll tie everything up, or maybe it'll get tied up in the Mandalorian film, or Ahsoka Season 2, whatever, but there's a lot of things that are just completely left open, and I don't understand why that was done. Tie up all of your loose plot threads from your show in your show, and then if you want, you can have a tease for something coming down the line if you want it. Like I said, the finale was good enough. Several characters do die. None of the Bad Batch does die, which, like I said, I figured all of them were going to do. I figured all of them were going to die except for Omega, maybe Crosshair. And then once Tantus is dealt with, it kind of does this Rebels time jump thing, where we get to see a grown-up version of Omega and Hunter, and they're talking, and Omega leaves that island planet, and she goes and joins the rebellion. I don't know where that timeline jump part kind of fits in with the original trilogy. Does she go off and does she join to help out, blow up the original Death Star at A New Hope? Does she join in between the episodes of 4 and 5? Is she on Hoth? Does she join and help with the final battle during Return of the Jedi? It's really never explained as to where that little scene ties in to the original trilogy. We know it takes place during the original trilogy because she specifically states the rebellion needs fighters, not the New Republic, during episodes 7, 8, and 9, or between episodes 6 and 7. She specifically states the rebellion against the Empire. So it takes place somewhere in the original trilogy. I'm just curious as to where. And, like, what's her fate then? So, overall, guys, I thought Bad Batch Season 3, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's not bad. It does do what it set out to do and to conclude the Bad Batch show. And I've talked about this in the past with Bad Batch Season 1 and 2 for, obviously years now, that, if you don't watch Bad Batch and you just stick with Clone Wars, Bad Batch is basically just like a spin-off from Season 7's events. It's just a spin-off of that. If you don't watch Bad Batch, you're not really missing anything, but it does have a lot of cool additional lore that's poured into the Star Wars universe. So, if you're a Star Wars fan, I think you're going to enjoy Bad Batch, especially Bad Batch Season 3. But just keep in mind, certain things are never going to get answered, and it actually just poses more questions to you. And hopefully they get wrapped up in future Star Wars projects. So I'm going to give Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3 a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Have an excellent day. And as always, may the Force be with you. Bye, guys.